Hello everyone, my name is Ink. Welcome to the Ink Storm. And we're talking about that thing again. Episode 2, Love, Death and Ranting.
That thing again.
That thing again, yes. We are once again talking about Love, Death and Robots. The Netflix series which my guest and I have thoughts about. Say hello.
Hello, I'm Ari, otherwise known as Awfulwaful, and I am also here. How you doing?
Woo! So, episode 2, 3 robots. I mean, you can probably see from the episode length below that we have less to say about this one. Apart from nothing else, it's a shorter thing. It's shorter than Sunny's Edge, but there's less to unpack here.
Yeah, it's again for anyone who's just finding this episode, we binged the series once all the way through, and now we are watching each episode before we talk about them, just to refresh our memories and maybe pick up things that we may have missed the first time around. But aside from little okay, but aside from like little,
I mean, I for one definitely need to watch things over twice to really get a good critical read on them. Because I tend to get very absorbed in them the first time around and miss stuff.
Because I tend to be more critical the first time around, but you know, I do still miss things. Like actually, one of the things I noticed about this one, there was a lot of like little detail that I really liked. But it's specific to the animation. It has almost nothing to do with the story.
The story,
or the characters.
I wasn't a big fan of this episode the first time I watched it, but I think that was partially because as episode 2, coming right off the highs in a number of senses of Sunny's Edge, this is kind of a contrast.
Yeah, I guess actually that's funny because when I watched these through the first time, there was actually Netflix did something weird and played me, even though my order is Sunny's Edge first and then 3 robots. For some reason, Netflix played 3 robots and then Sunny's Edge for me, and then all the rest of them in the same order. So I got that one and then Sunny's Edge, and I didn't have that problem.
Yeah, which I think probably contributed to a better reading, in a way.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause this is something which Love, Death and Robots does throughout, actually. It kind of bounces between the more high-octane, high-drama stuff, and then stuff like 3 Robots, which are much more comedic and low-intensity.
Yeah, and there are some that are kind of a mix of both. You know, that we'll get to in time, but yeah, it's it's.
And then there's the yogurt episode.
Don't you talk shit about my child? No, it's an interesting. It's an interesting contrast, and for an anthology, I think it works fine because the thing that kind of ties this all together is science fiction. It's not anything, you know, narrower than that. So it can be broad. It can be humor. It can be gritty. It can be whatever you want it to be. My only problem with this episode is I just kind of feel like I've seen it before, like a million other places.
Yeah, that's the kind of the thing. My comment when we were binging this was effectively that it's the same joke repeated over and over with one amusing twist at the end. That being that actually the cat which has been hanging around with them is one of the things which destroyed the world. Spoilers. And the rest of it, like on a second viewing, there are a few lines which amused me. The bit about how the baby monitors weren't very good at their job.
Yeah, that made me laugh. Well, give me a sensible chuckle.
And there were a few cute references here and there, like the opening shot, which was basically a straight rip of the opening to Terminator 2 was a cute reference.
Yeah, it was definitely I mean, there were a bunch of references throughout the series, or the episode.
Yeah. And then blending in a bit of pop culture with the exploding kittens thing, the Xbox reference. Like, you can see, it's not an episode which I can call lazy. There are one or two which I could label that in Love, Death, and Robots, and Trade Robots isn't lazy. It's just, it's been done, and if it had been any longer, then it definitely would have outstayed its welcome. But as it is, it's just kind of filler.
It's cotton candy. It's like we talk about some movies are just kind of popcorn. Like the John Wick movies are popcorn. They're not particularly deep. They're just fun to watch. They make you chow down on popcorn. You're there to have a good time. But I feel like there's a version of that, especially for shorter things, like animation, shorter animations, which are just cotton candy. They're just like, they're quick, they're sweet, they're done. It's not, there's not a really big conversation to have, I think, about this episode particularly. Again, it's like a lot of the things that I saw that I liked, especially the second time through, were just little things I noticed about the animation. Little ways that they had the three characters emote. Like the weirdest thing that struck me, and I was like, oh, that's really fucking good. Completely from like a technical like animation standpoint was the Xbot 4000. When he gets his new eye, it does not move. His yellow eye, his actual eye, will move, and the blue eye lights up. But the blue eye does not move, no matter what. It stays straight ahead. And I liked that. I was like, oh, that's a really nice little detail. It makes it nice. The
little details of animation and the characterization done through that definitely helped with the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like the very expressive face, for want of a better term, for the baby monitor was great.
Yeah. His little LED screen was the little faces and like the what the fuck at the end.
Yes.
The fact that they managed to make a robot that did not look human and had a monotone voice, but was very physically, or could be very physically expressive.
That was fantastic.
Beautiful design.
Gave me Interstellar vibes, although the robots in Interstellar aren't quite that design.
A little, I guess. They also didn't get like front and center so much on their physicality, but
But it's the same sort of thing of taking a very, very utilitarian shape and finding ways to make it expressive, which was something which I thought they did quite well in Interstellar. I have my issues with that movie, but that was a cool element.
Yeah. And they definitely did it here. I just honestly, the designs in general, both the backgrounds and the robots, the fact that it was not like it was a little drab, but it was not like sepia tone gross, like everything's kind of dreary drab. The littlest robot, the baby monitor, was not like the only spot of color in the entire place kind of thing.
They did a good job of having a post-apocalyptic landscape which still has a range of colors to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's unfortunate. That's really the unfortunate thing about this episode is there's just not much to talk about. The humor was fine. The the characters were fine. I didn't. I mean, from me, I didn't really pick up anything. I guess like that I would really critique or that I feel one way or the other about. It's. I think this was. I think this was good.
Yeah,
it's just that there's not a lot to it. Is the is the only unfortunate thing.
it's a 10-minute. It's basically what happens when a sci-fi author takes the basic premise of have 3 robots go be tourists in a long-dead human city, and just keep spinning the joke until they run out of things to do.
There's a type of joke that I forgot what it's called, but it's literally like you it's like the long form joke where it's just this lead up of like of what?
Shaggy Dog Story?
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Shaggy Dog Story. This did feel a little bit like that because like there were jokes and they were moderately funny and it was fine. But the real payoff is the cats.
Yeah.
At the very end. Which is out of left field. It's like
yeah, because the introduction of that, where you think they're talking about like a TV or something, and then it pans down and it's a cat. That did actually make me laugh the first time I saw this. And I did not expect the twist of whoops, the cats are actually evil.
The thing that made me laugh was the introduction of, or the mention of exploding kittens, literally just because I got exploding kittens for Christmas, I think, at one point, and
yeah, like a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that is exactly the kind of bullshit that you would learn about cats from that kind of game. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have a whole lot to say otherwise, unfortunately.
I mean, the one other comment which springs to mind is when the pyramid robot gives that very serious speech about human hubris and all that sort of thing. That just struck me as like straight out of H.G. Wells or any of the classic sci-fi authors making some grave pronouncement about the state of humanity. I feel like that was probably what they were going for there.
Yeah, well, I mean, she is very reminiscent of a lot of typical sci-fi AI aesthetic. Look at GLaDOS. Look at oh shit, what's her name? System Shock.
Showdown.
Showdown. Thank you. Oh Jesus, Hal. I can't think of names. Where there is something to say. The AI is effectively a way to say something about humanity. Like that is what she is aesthetically drawing lineage from, or character design wise. Also aesthetically, just that wasn't what we were talking about. But it's yeah. I mean it. It's definitely like it was there. It's all of her comments really are kind of in that vein. That one's just more on the nose in a fashion.
But
I don't think it's like hiding any messages.
This is the problem with not doing this scripted.
Well, if you do it scripted, then, people know that you're scripting it and you sound like you know what you're doing, and I have no interest. That is not my brand.
We're going full Eddie Izzard. Tea and cake or death. But yeah, it's like there's more that we could talk about at this point, but there's kind of a line where you start to cross where you're making things up to talk about, because there's not much to be said about this episode. It's cute. It's not bad, but there's not much to say.
Yeah, aside from like a trigger warning about desiccated bodies and rotting food, it's like I can't even really. I guess technically there's a dead baby joke, but it's not really like we murdered the babies. It's just there are no babies anymore.
Yeah,
but there's not a lot to this. There's not a lot to this episode. So I mean, I'm happy leaving it there, to be honest.
I think it may actually be one of the least offensive episodes in the entire series. I'm just trying to think of any others which are just completely harmless in their own way, and I think this, if not the highest, it definitely rates up there for whatever it's worth.
I mean, this series in general has a bit of an issue, in my opinion, but this episode's not really part of that problem.
Yep. Alrighty, let's wrap it up there. Final thoughts. Which is going to be repeating what we've already said like twice at this point. It's cute. It's a fairly simple premise with some very nice characterization through visual design, and a amusing payoff at the end. But there's not a great deal else. Which cannot be said about the next episode.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh boy. Next episode will be The Witness. Which, yep. We'll get there. Anyway, hopefully all of you out there have enjoyed us rambling about things. I have been Inque.
And I have been not Inque.
This is functionally correct. And we'll catch you next time.
Bye.